So it's been about a year since I've had the Rodeo on the road now. In this video, I'm going to run you through pretty much the whole car, so every mod I've done to it, just in case you haven't seen it before, and also what's worked, what hasn't worked, what I'll change, just sort of everything like that, because now I've gone through all the teething issues and changed stuff to actually see what works. I'll run you through how and why I did it and what's worked well. So we'll start with the outside of the car. So we're a 2000 TF Rodeo, 2.8 turbo diesel, just aluminium front bar, chrome grille, and we come up to here, sun visor, this from Retro Spares. So everyone keeps asking me where it's from, so yeah, Retro Spares, and it was like $750 with a 4-month wait. eBay weather shields. The flares are actually TJM Deluxe flares, so they actually still make them and you can buy them. Flexiglass canopy. We have Patrol Series 4 rims with some 32s, and that's really it. The outside of the car is pretty standard, or standard looking. Yeah, until we go underneath where all the mods are. So we'll start with the front diff. So as you can see, it's solid axle. We're running a GU Patrol front diff, pretty much standard diff, 4:6 ratio. That's open center. It's got the standard Patrol CVs in it, standard brakes, everything. Superior engineering steering arms. So we've got the drag link and the tie rod underneath with the King steering dampener that's been chassis mounted. So I stole that off my D-Max, which is on the Patrol chassis, so it just bolted straight onto the steering arm and I welded that to the chassis. For coilovers or suspension, we got 10-inch Pro Fender coilovers. They're 2.0s. They're running a 250-pound top spring, 300-pound bottom spring, and that is slightly stiff. When I change this alley bar to a steel bull bar, which I want to do later on, they might actually soften up a bit and be a bit more comfy. Also an adjustable panhard. That's actually an 80 series panhard rod that I made fit in here. And as you can see, flipped arms. So they are flipped 80 series radius arms, just for like better clearance. And yeah, so solid axle converted front for the Rodeo. Issues I've had is that diff center is huge, so up travel is very limited. For shock hoops as well, I've just fabbed up my own shock hoops and they go right into the engine bay, which you'll see in a bit. Yeah, chassis braced, bump stop there. That actually hits on the radius arm. Yeah, for the front, that's pretty much it. And as you can see on driver's side, pretty much the same setup. And GU Patrol steering box as well, which I made custom power steering lines for to run to the Rodeo steering pump. So yeah, that's all been incorporated in with the bracing, and yeah, that's my front end. So rear end. So there's a bit more going on here. So start with 14-inch Pro Fender coilovers, 2.0s as well, or 2.0 like the front. 100-pound top spring, 150-pound bottom spring, and they're too light. So I need to go a bit heavier with them. And there's airbags that can disconnect, so they help out when I've got some load on the back. This link here is a anti-rock torsion sway bar. So that's a 50-inch bar, pretty much standard Patrol like welding job, and I've just made it fit on my Rodeo. We just welded to the chassis there. That tank's for the airbags, so that links the airbags together, gives a bit more volume. It's also running a triangulated 4-link, so ramps customs for the mounts on the chassis. And yeah, lower arm there, upper arms there with the 4-link. And the heam joints at the diff, they're 1.25-inch heams. And yeah, so that's pretty much the rear end. Custom rear tail shaft to suit from the back of the Jackaroo transfer case, which I'll get into soon, to Patrol. and that Patrol diff center is a 4.6 as well to match the front, but it's got a Harrop E-locker in it, so the rear's locked. Yeah. So while we're under the car, we'll do the transfer case. So that's a Holden Jackaroo transfer case, and it's bolted to a RC Colorado A340 4-speed auto, so they bolt straight up. Reason why I did that is because on the back of the transfer case they're flanged, and I've actually managed to put a Patrol handbrake drum on it, and then so that then converts it to Patrol pattern for the unis. That unis on both ends of that tail shaft are Patrol, and it's just been custom length. So it's got a Patrol handbrake which works like really well, so Patrols are known for good handbrakes. There's a video of me actually adapting all that on, so if you want to do it yourself you can. And yeah, that bolts to the gearbox, so that's a manualized auto A340 out of the RC Colorado. Yeah, so it's just got a Transgo shift kit in it, which I've got a video of that as well, and that bolted straight to the 4JB1 engine, but literally just bolted straight up, so they go together. So if you ever want to do that, yourself as well, you can. For the gearbox, we're running the ratchet shifter, so because we're manualized, we can use this ratchet shifter, and it's 7-position valve body in it, so I've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4 on the shifter without having to run an overdrive button, like 1, 2, 3 then overdrive. And that button is my torque converter lockup, so I can control that manually by just pushing it in whenever I want, and it locks up. And that's for my high-low range for the Jackaroo transfer case, and I've actually got it on a button for 2 and 4 because it's electric actuated. You can actually get Jackaroo transfer cases where it's got 2, 4 and then low on the stick, which I wanted, but they're very hard to find, so I just made do with what I had really. And another thing to mention with the gearbox is that there, so that's actually a thermostat for the auto transmission. So that's 60 degrees, so it lets the box actually warm up to 60, and then it puts oil to the coolers, which is good. I used to run it like 40 degrees on the highway, which I think was too cold, and this is my second gearbox, so I think being too cold was a problem for the first gearbox I had, because it just lost all drive and made its own metal. So since I've had that thermostat in and this gearbox, touch wood, it hasn't had a problem. So engine bay, so as you can see, it's very modified in here as well. Yeah, they're the shock hoops that come into the engine bay, so very exposed in here. We'll start with this side. So I'm running a Jackaroo brake booster as well with the master cylinder, so that's a 1-inch bore master cylinder, so it gave me better brakes over the 15-16 Rodeo master cylinder. Yeah, compound turbo setup, so we're running a Pulsar 3660 feeding a Garrett 2300. Yeah, complicated, and there's no room for much else. 50mm gate down there, you see the golden green one, external gate, so that's what links pretty much from the engine manifold, like the exhaust manifold, straight to the big turbo. That's the bypass for that. And you can see this 38mm gate is to control exhaust from what comes from that manifold and to bypass the big turbo to go straight out the exhaust. So that controls boost for this turbo, and that one controls boost for that turbo. Yeah, just on a pod filter, but I'll do airbox setup later on when I get some time. And that gets fed through this intercooler. So it's a ProFlow 600/300 by 75. Yeah, fits in there nicely. I've cut all my grill out to make it fit because it actually sits out a fair bit. You see, you have to cut your grill anyway, regardless if you put that in, if you run aircon like I do. Yeah, so it runs through there, and then 3-inch cold pipe from the intercooler into custom intake plenum. So I've made that plenum as well myself. There's actually the video on that too. The injector pump, that's still the standard 11mm pump that the Rodeos come with, and the injector's also standard. That's just been wound right up. I do want to do a 12mm pump one day, but yeah, it'll happen when it happens really. I'll get there one day. But at the moment it drives pretty good. It's still pretty quick. I'm happy with it. Like, it's not like I'm disappointed in how it drives, so I just left it as it is. Yeah, not much else. Patrol fuel filter setup. So just made it sort of, instead of having the Rodeo, you got the water separator and then the filter, that's just in one. And then it's got a decent primer. That's for the gauge inside. When we go inside for the JRP, I'll show you why that's there. And then yeah, the sensors like got intake air temp and just boost and all that. And also running HPD catch can, which I've just recently put on. And also behind this intercooler, we have two, we can't see them, but there's a video on this as well of the transmission coolers. Got two ProFlow coolers that are linked in series there. So they keep the transmission cold, and that's, oh, and head studs as well. So you can't really see them, but this engine has ARP head studs through it, and other than that, the engine's standard. So it has copped 40 PSI of boost. That's been backed off to 30 now just for reliability, but yeah, literally just head studs and lots of boost, and yeah, she still runs. Oh, and there's two black coolers here, one behind each other. So the one in front's a fuel cooler, and there's one identical that's behind it. That's my power steering cooler to keep that fluid cool. But that fluid still gets hot because I think I need to put this somewhere where the engine fan will actually suck air through it, because at the moment there's just like nothing behind it. And the power steering fluid, when you're doing like slow off-road stuff, like lots of turning, actually gets hot and overflows and goes everywhere. So I'm guessing it's boiling and getting hot. So that's just something I'll have to change later, but just little stuff like that I'm just working on. So time for the back. So yeah, bush doof party lights, and they swing with the actual window. So in the back, so just on tap, got a cigarette lighter there to plug in for power for the on tap, and that one's for the bush doof lights. They can plug in and turn them on. Plus I got whip that can run each side, bush doof whip. Yeah, so that's the coilovers for the rear. They come into the tub a fair way. I'm still finishing off boxing that up to cover it to stop dust and everything coming in here. But at the moment, yeah, it's how it is. King's compressor, that's mounted like permanently there into that air tank and to a retractor hose reel. So that makes airing up pretty easy. You just don't have to get any hoses out or anything. You just turn the compressor on and run out the hose reel. That's pretty much it for the back. Yeah, like I said, I want to finish off enclosing around the suspension. Maybe put some drawers in here just for some better storage, but that's about it for in here. I'm not going to do too much because I still want it to just be an old rough ute I can throw stuff in. And now time for the interior. So start with, I put central locking in here. So yeah, I've got full central locking in this car, which wasn't a standard feature. Running two JRP, like actual 2 units, not just dual screens. That's because I want to run trans temp and intake air temp, and if you know JRP, you can only run one or the other because they share the same port. So that's why I've got 2 units so I can see both. And then yeah, engine guard, that's bolted to the back of the head. So if I ever lose coolant and the head keeps getting hot, that'll beep at 100 and warn me. So that's good. And yeah, it's pretty standard really. Got this kick-ass panel, so that's for the rear diff lock. I can just press that to turn it on. Air compressor, turn that, turns the air compressor on. Get to put a front locker in, but I've already got the switch there ready to go. Yeah, you've seen the ratchet shifter. That's about it. Tablets up there with just a quad lock windscreen mount. That's just for maps and that when I go off road, just to see where I am. Other than that, it's pretty standard. This seat, that's just a one from Autobarn, which actually fits on the factory rails. Got to jack it up 35mm on one side, and that's it. The actual hole's pretty much lined up, so almost just bolted straight in. A bit of an upgrade, and yeah. Also for the interior, it's full sound deadened with car builders. So I've got the matting plus the foam. That's on like the whole car, all the doors, inside and outside of the doors. I want to do the roof, but I don't know how I'm going to get that out neatly and put it back so it looks the same. But yeah, it's all been sound deadened too, but it's still very loud in here. And it's probably going to glitch heaps because it's the LED, but this is the JRPs and what I run. So I've got boost here, so that's the overall boost and inlet manifold. Got my EGTs, that's, I used to run it in the exhaust manifold, but it kept cooking probes, so it runs after the first turbo. Trans temp, which stays pretty much 70 degrees, and yeah, those coolers at the front work really nice. Water temp, this car doesn't really get hot as well, which is also a good feature. That boost is between the turbos, so what the big turbos feed in the little turbo, I can see that boost. Fuel pressure, that was that sensor on the fuel filter, because I actually run a lift pump in the back, so I can see what pressure it's actually putting and if the lift pump is working. Engine oil pressure, engine oil temp, just volts, and the intake air temp I can see there. When I'm actually driving, there's wind going through that radiator, it's pretty much 2 to 3 degrees above ambient air temp, so that intercooler is working really good as well. And for the fuel system or fuel tank, so just a standard 90 litre petrol tank with the petrol sender. Got the 8mm return lines, 10mm feed, so I've changed all the fuel lines that run down the car to 10mm feed, 8mm return, so they're bigger than standard. I think standard's 8 and 6. And then it's got a lift pump there, if you can see that. So it's got an ProFlow actually, lift pump. And there's so that feeds fuel to that filter. I can see the pressure, and that's just when I change fuel filters, and it primes very easy. You just turn the key and yeah, it keeps fuel up to the pump. So that's about it. That for the petrol sender, because I use the standard petrol sender in the standard tank, you can actually get a fuel gauge converter, so the fuel gauge on the dash works with the petrol sender. And also being like a 90 litre tank, I get over 700 Ks easily out of it. So it's almost like a little long range tank for them. I don't run it dry. I pretty much get about 700 Ks and then fuel it up again, because I've run out of fuel is something I don't want to stress about. Yeah, other than that, that's pretty much the car. So yeah, that's pretty much the Rodeo. The future mods I want to do to it is maybe an engine conversion. I'm looking at doing a 4JJ1 just for more power and reliability. That's sort of why I haven't gone with a 12mm pump yet, because the money I can spend on a pump, I can actually just buy a 4JJ1 motor. It'll bolt straight up to the gearbox, but will bolt straight up to the engine mounts. It's just pretty much get a computer, wiring, and I've got a reliable 200 plus horsepower for not much really. And also I want to do full bar work, so I want to make my own bull bar, and then I want to do side scrubs into sliders. I want to do rear scrubs and then a rear bar. So I want to do that one day as well. And it's really about it. Front locker, and yeah, it's about it. As it is, it's pretty capable. I don't want to make a touring rig out of it. I just want it to be like a weekender, so I can just go to the beach or go fall driving with my mates. It's not got everything hanging off it. It's not too heavy, so I can actually go have fun off-road and don't have to worry about it too much, which is half the reason why I've used an older car to do this too, because I can scratch it, dent it, all that, and I'm not going to cry about it. So I pretty much got it to have fun. So yeah.